but it's all diplomatic pressure at the moment. There is an international agreement in place between the United States, the Kingdom of Denmark and Greenland, and that was signed in 1951, and it's all about the defence of Greenland. Because that international agreement's in place, if Donald Trump tried to take Greenland militarily, he is actually breaking United States domestic law. And therefore, he would have to find a mechanism to set aside that agreement before he then took any military action. So he's like a bully with a big stick, and he's wielding it as fast as he can. And the other infants in the playground, as he would probably refer to them, are trying to find a way of dealing with that big stick whilst hiding their own behind their back. And this is where diplomacy is critical, and what our international leaders and Keir Starmer are talking about is important. And this is where it's a shame Keir Starmer is not at Davos sitting down with Donald Trump face to face, because that's the only way that this is going to be solved.
Do you think Trump is actually willing to use his big stick in Greenland and send in the military?
Well, admit he can't. And in the past, few former ambassadors, and asked them that very question. And they said he can't do that. He would be breaking US law. And therefore, any officer that followed through with those orders themselves would be breaking US law. And they know the implications of that. So, any indication for him going for military action would have to be the key indicator for that would be him trying to set aside the international agreements that are already in place. And therefore, that's why we should be calling his bluff out.
I mean, what do you think NATO can do to call it his bluff out? I mean, fundamentally, they need to make it very clear to President Trump that NATO has Greenland's back, that the defence of Greenland is already there in place, although he maybe doesn't sort of necessarily see it in that way. So what is the message NATO needs to deliver to him?
Well, I think all of that will be going on behind closed doors at the moment, and it will be a clear message that the United States, in NATO terms, is completely isolated here if he's considering military action. And also NATO countries coming together from a political perspective, because we have to remember NATO is a political alliance as well as a military alliance, that they're united in saying that this is politically wrong and start to put pressure on Donald Trump to find out exactly what it is that he is interested in, rather than just being what it seems to be on the surface, a real estate transaction in his mind.
How damaged and or weakened do you think NATO has been by this over the last week?
I think NATO is distracted. I think what it's doing is it's bringing the non-US members of NATO together closer politically. They're realizing that they're going to have to increase their military capability faster. They are now focusing on the Arctic as a region, which is somewhere that there was a focus on, but possibly not as much as